This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave on the Township website and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall.
All right, this time we please rise, the Pledge of Allegiance, and a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad.
Here.
Councilmember Perry.
Here.
Councilmember Roy is absent. Deputy Mayor Sippel.
Here.
Mayor Simonson.
Here. All right, we have no work session this evening, so we move right down to the consent agenda. Does council have any questions or comments regarding anything on the consent agenda? None? All right, we open it to the public. Questions on the consent agenda? Would you say I should that you state your name and address for the record? All right. Yes, sir, Mr. Rizzo.
I don't have to follow you up. I just like to ask you about Resolution 2018-301 and 2018-300. I think there's a difference with one word or another. Can someone explain it to me there? Thank you.
The bond ordinance that was previously passed for Roseanne Avenue, this is when the time comes to sell possibly notes and/or bonds. This is so that everything is in place to do the financing. That's all it is so that all the paperwork is in place.
The ordinance passed, and what happened is now we're starting to actually sell. Now we have to say, yes, sell the bonds.
That's a lot of money, $3,900,000.
It was
Mr.
combined-
Rizzo, there is a neighborhood over there that has been flooding for over 35 years. And for once, the Township Council is going to step up and do something right for the citizens of this township and fix that project. And that's what part of this project is. That's what that $3,900,000 is.
Roseanne Avenue project,
Excuse me?
Roseanne Avenue project.
Correct.
And that's all the bonds together now for that
For
project.
that one street, right?
Well, actually, let me,
neighborhood.
yeah, that one artery feeds a third of North Cape May. So it runs down that street, but it's a major source of stormwater and for the whole, that whole section of North Cape May. It branches out to, I think, thousands of homes, we count it.
Goes over Schooner Landing, everything.
There, we've had the problem there for years.
I know, yep. That's why we're getting it fixed.
It's about time it's being fixed. It's just an awful lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
That, we agree.
What are we bonding it for?
I believe it's a 20-year bond?
This is not additional.
Yeah, that's not the
bond.
bonding ordinance. This
No,
is
this
This
is-
is not additional money. This is just setting in place. The money has already been bonded. This is just putting in place to sell the notes and the bonds. The money's already been bonded. This is just the mechanism so that when the time comes, the bond council has everything in place so that they can sell the notes and/or bonds. This is not additional funding.
It's the next step in the process, so to speak.
You can't tell me now, like, how much it's going to, how many years it's going out or anything like that. It hasn't been done yet.
Bonds are usually around 20 years, roughly. I can't remember off the top of my head what this is, but then again, every so often, we consolidate the bonds anyway and reissue them as they come down at a lower interest rate.
That's municipal bonds, you've heard of that.
Oh, yeah, I might buy one.
Mr. Rizzo, also, I would tell you that we are certainly hoping to receive some grant funds that have been applied for, and we hired a specialist, Jim Rutala, that's working with the New Jersey Infrastructure Trust Fund, and this information here was necessary to show them also. So, you know, we'll keep our fingers crossed on that, but as Mr. Perry said, the time is
Passed.
past due.
Long overdue, I know. We can't send the bill to Mr. Milne, can we?
I doubt it.
I don't think so.
Actually, it was Mr. Mitnick.
It was Mitnick.
Inside joke.
It was Mr. Mitnick anyway, but
Mr. Mitnick, yeah. He's the one. Let's take his name off the school.
anybody else have any questions? It's good to have you back, though, Mr. Rizzo. All right, we close that portion. Hey, you want to read that off, Joel, or?
Approval of, approval of the minutes from the previous meeting and resolutions number 2018-293 through resolutions number 2018-305.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad,
Yes.
Councilmember Perry,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel,
Yes.
Mayor Simonson.
Yes. We will move down. Jim, do you want to forego yours and move right to the engineer's report? Mr. Stray?
Evening, Mayor and Council. First project tonight to update you on is the Roseanne Avenue project, Phase 1. Contractor has begun to mobilize equipment to the site this week. He plans on installing his temporary and permanent sheet piles on the pump station site on Wednesday and to start his bypass pumping system. He has his seismic survey subcontractor in the area to inspect as they pound the sheet piles in and make sure there's not exceeding any thresholds there. And I believe that the construction trailers are already on site. So they're moving forward. We're still in the process of doing shop drawings. There's over 150 or so shop drawings that have to be reviewed. And the contractor did submit his second permit for the dewatering on Friday, this treatment works, to the DEP. So that's the last one we're waiting on for approval before we can start dewatering and actually start constructing. And a pre-construction meeting notice was sent out. We just want to inform you again, once again, that we do have another pre-construction meeting on this Friday at 10 a.m. here, basically to let the contractor, let everybody know what his intended schedule is and to spend some time with the utility companies on questions and issues that that have come up over the last couple weeks. The Roseanne Avenue project, Phase 3, the CAFR permit for that project was submitted last Friday. So that's in the queue, and we have received our Cape Atlantic permits. So we're in the process of finishing that design and moving forward for the rest of the project there. We're still intending to put that out to bid at the latest March of next year with construction to begin, but if we get a quick response from DEP, we'll obviously try to put it out sooner. Beach Access Improvement Project, we're starting our survey on Wednesday and plan to complete it on the next 3 days of clear weather. We have identified with the township the locations that are moving forward with that permit. And then finally, the recreational center restrooms upgrade. Our architect met with the Recreation Department and the construction official last Thursday to go over the schematic layout and to get approval before we go into final design. All those issues were worked out, and we're moving forward to completing that project design at the moment. That's all I have at this point. If there's any questions on anything.
Buddy? No. Thank you.
Okay.
Gentlemen, this morning, our Director of Planning, Bill Galestock, came over with some good news concerning the Skellinger Landing area. The DOT had put their project on hold there, and this morning I received correspondence to Planning and Zoning that the DOT is going forward with milling, paving, and striping the bottom of the bridge by Lucky Bones down to the connecting bridge, which is the entrance to Cape May. So they're going to be doing that run and certainly incurring the cost of that. But we're also setting up a meeting with them now because they want to get together with us to see our crossovers for our project where we may have to do a few cutouts there by the marina and down by Lucky Bones. But I think this is great because it'll be a total new road along with sidewalk, et cetera. And we'll be bringing you that information and looking for a resolution on that in the future. Secondly, Julie Picard, Gary Playford, myself, we met with Rob Belasco of Dave Stefankowicz's firm concerning, which is a topic with all the municipalities. We met this week to basically discuss that we're in line with our COA requirements, and Rob is talking about obtaining substantive certification from COA for Lower Township, so we stay ahead of the curve. And I don't think at this point it's something we want to be more proactive with instead of finding out later on we're not there. And with some of these new housing projects soon to take place, I think the timing is real good. Lastly, the council had asked me to look into an accessibility of our buildings here. And I just received a proposal at 4:20 today. I just printed it out. I'll be giving it to you tonight for Mott McDonald to assess everything from the exterior of the building, our HVAC systems, et cetera. And that's something that will, I'll put the amounts in front of you for the next meeting. That's it for me tonight.
Thank you.
Councilman Conrad.
Got a few things. Last week, we had our September 11th memorial ceremony, and at Sunset Beach, it was a little bit shorter, but I think it was a little bit more poignant and good attendance, and I like to see all the people that were there. It was very good. The Foster House. Next week, we'll be going to the Open Space has asked us in Historical Preservation to come and give a presentation, see if we get some money for them for the renovations, to get the roof fixed and some of the other things. I know one of the things we have to look at is ADA, which I was talking to someone before this weekend about how the Fishing Creek School it was tough with the ADA requirements, so we're hoping to not need half of that for the Foster House. Good news is, partially good news. Depending on the weather tomorrow, finally, Alabama, Georgia, and Main Street are going to be started to fix this. This is a 2-year project to get these roads fixed so we could move on to other streets in the villas and get them done. Tomorrow, they're supposed to start digging up and putting in a new sewer line, and then they're going to rip that road up really good because they have to go down about 4 to 6 feet in spots because there's a lot of trees causing sinkholes. So that's going to be rectified, and I know that neighborhood's going to be very happy. September 26th, New Jersey Run for the Fallen at the Naval Air Station Wildwood, 4:45. Is the opening ceremony. It's a good one, but it's also very tough. This is everybody in the past 20, 25 years that lost their lives that are in our military service that lived in New Jersey. And they are going to recognize every single one of them. Everybody could get there, please come out. And the next morning, on the 27th at 7:45, the run will start as normal from Sunset Beach. This is the first year it's going to be starting at the opening ceremonies at Naval Air Station. October 9th, here, Tuesday night. Yeah, I got a whole little list. We're going to have an opioid meeting like some of the other places have. We're still lining up who's going to show up. Steve Selby from the Lower Township Healthy Youth Coalition is still lining up who exactly is coming to talk. I know I did ask for Cure to be here. They are going to be there. There's going to be resources and information for what's happening. It's a Lower Township problem, it's a county problem, it's a state problem, it's a national problem. But here's what we have here and what can we do for it. If you have an idea, please bring forth. Everyone's looking for it. I was at the one 2 weeks ago and found out out of nowhere, I've been trying to help people find rehabs. 2 minutes into the one guy speaking, he mentioned one I never heard of before up in Trenton. That's free at that, if you can get in. Where are we on this? Emergency management. As we know, because tomorrow we're getting the last remnants of Florence hitting us. Last week, Hurricane Florence hit North and South Carolina. We always talk about what can we do for emergency management. It's on everyone's thoughts, everything else. We're in the budget season. We need to see what we could do to help make it better in this township. We have a very large township. We're not all rich. We don't have a bunch of hotels or anything we could get. We are not going to charter a bunch of luxury buses. But what can we do for our residents to help them more? We have a very good team. They're very strong. We have some great volunteers. But what can we do to make it better? And as it's budget time, I think it's time that we start looking at that a little bit more seriously. And finally, the beach access, since Mark brought it up. We were trying to get more access points in the villas. We went for, I believe, 9 or 10. Unfortunately, we were hoping just to be able to put them in, but we have to do a survey. We have to have permission to do the survey. And 4 places did not respond, so we do not have permission to do the survey. They are not going to be on this permit. But the plus side is we're getting 5 more new beach access points in the villas. And that is it for me now. Dave?
A couple things. First of all, I'd like to thank the Public Works Department for jumping in real quick to help out the MUA with a major water main break at Washington Boulevard and Bayshore Road yesterday. They jumped right in there to help try to get the problem fixed as soon as possible. Also, had a lot of phone calls in regards to, the water being out and people in other areas of the township getting, or in North Cape May area getting brown water. I had my water turned color at my house too. And that's just part of the animal. Anybody knows when you get a water main break, things like that happen. But our Public Works jumped in to help out the MUA so they could get it done as soon as they could. I'd like to thank Mr. Ridgway for staying on top of what was going on so he could send out Nextel messages so the public would be aware of when the water was going to get turned back on again. I had quite a few phone calls in reference to that with people concerned about would their water be back on by morning, can they shower in it, so on and so forth. So Mr. Ridgway stayed right on top of that. I'd like to thank him. Water main has been fixed, and of course the roadway is going to have to get repaired around that area sometime in the not too distant future.
Excuse me, I would also tell council that Gary Douglas notified me today after work that Mr. Chapman told him that their engineering firm is going to asphalt up that street there, which is the combination of, the county and then Washington is ours, but their engineering firm is going to finish that off. Right now, if you went there, it still has to be completed, so
Great.
hopefully sooner than later.
Great, fantastic. The other thing, let's see, number 2, construction at Roseanne Avenue project, as Mr. Fred had basically told us, and Mont McDonald's is on top of this with a meeting coming up on Friday, a pre-construction meeting. The contractor is moving equipment in, as we heard tonight. This project finally, after all this time, is going to get started. So it's a really big item that we're tackling in this, but as we had stated, all of council has stated before, that our infrastructure in this township is extremely important. There's been no plan in the past to maintain or stay on top of it, and that's what we're in the process of doing now. So that project is underway. Along with infrastructure issue, the people who live in Cape May Beach and Town Bank area need to be made aware of that within the next week or so. Clubhouse Drive, Bay Drive area will be shut down. The pipe that is under, that is under Clubhouse Drive in the S-curve that feeds Coxall Creek is damaged really bad. It's starting to collapse on one side, and it's a bit of an emergency. It's becoming very close to being shut down without it being repaired. I mean, it's getting that bad. So everything is in play to take care and do an emergency fix on this. I believe we're looking at about 3 or 4 days for the project for them to go in there, dig that up, replace the pipe, put it back, and get the road open again. So we all need to be a little patient, and it's going to probably reroute some traffic. I know I live just on one side of Coxall Creek, so in order to get to North Cape May, I'm going to have to go around, but that's just part of it. We have to fix our infrastructure, and that will be happening, like I said, within the next week or so. We'll be sending out messages, is that right, Mr. Ridgway, when we get ready to start?
Yep.
So the public will be advised when we're going to start and approximately when it will be finished or reopened. Also, under infrastructure and road repair, the area Clubhouse Drive that is south of Town Bank Road is due on this paving project to be done this year. We're waiting for South Jersey Gas. They're now installing new gas mains in the North Cape May Town Bank area. As soon as that area gets the gas mains in, that road project will be completed. So again, bear with us till we get the gas lines in and we can get that road repaired. And last but not least, Councilman Conrad brought up about the beach access. The surveying is being done this week for the surveying, so we can get a permit into state DEP to make some improvements on our beach access and installation of benches. There have been quite a few people that are interested in benches that to have them installed in some places that were there and some places they weren't there. We're working our best to get this on the permit application in the DEP. If they're approved by DEP, then they'll be installed. So we are working on that to make those improvements. That's all I have.
Sergeant Major?
Okay, I just have 2 things. Actually, I had 5, but Councilman Conrad took care of the 3, so I only have 2 left, okay, so. But one is, last meeting I put out that the American Legion for Wildwood was actually accepting donations for the victims of the California wildfire, but that has changed because of the events of the Carolinas. So they're actually going to the Carolinas the last week of October. So anybody wants to donate anything for the cause, look for Gatorade, some toiletries, those kind of things. It's 4200 Atlantic Avenue in Wildwood is the American Legion Post. The second thing is we had a planning meeting this morning. Lower Township's going to have a Veterans Parade November 10th, 11 a.m. I'm not sure if this is the first ever, or I can't remember last time they had one here for a Veterans Day parade, so.
I don't either.
So it's going to be a good thing, and we're actually going to advertise well and get the public out there and honor some of the veterans we have in this township. I know Councilman Conrad and myself honored a veteran from World War II, Lieutenant Colonel, who turned 100 years old not too long ago. He's actually in the home right now, in the nursing home. We have a POW in Lower Township that's 95 years old, so we're going to try to service those veterans that day and make them feel proud, make them feel wanted, and pay our respect to them. So again, November 10th, and more to follow. That's all I have.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, I think these guys pretty much covered it all. I will be brief. Couple things. I want to thank Eileen Christ because people don't know, but behind the scenes, we had a great 9/11 ceremony at Sunset Beach, and I know it all came together in probably the hours leading up to the ceremony. So the Pansini family that comes down every year wasn't going to come, and then they decided to come. I know Eileen and I checked the radar all day. It did not look very good, and somehow it just all came together. The skies cleared up. It was beautiful down there, and Eileen, you put a great program together, and it went off without a hitch. It was a great tribute to those that lost their lives at 9/11, so thank you. Just one quick note from the mayor of Wildwood Crest, Don Cabrera. I went to a meeting. They're going to be having a Best of the Crest weekend in October 6th and 7th. October 6th, they're having a fun run for kids, as well as a 5K. And on Sunday, the 7th, they're having a 5-miler and a 10-miler, both of which go partially through Lower Township. So we are involved with that. But there is also what I wanted to let everyone know, citizens of Lower Township, there's a wellness cup, and that is if you sign up for any of those runs, please fill out that you're from Lower Township, and whatever municipality that has the most members wins the wellness cup, and that's also part of our Health Alliance and wellness services that we've been putting together here in the township, as well as other municipalities. Other than that, our football team plays home on Friday night at 7 p.m. Come on out and support the local sports. And we now open it, we close our portion and open it to the public. If you have any questions or comments, please just state your name and address for the record. Yes. That's Mr. Swansky back, yes.
John Skoronsky, 607 Arctic Avenue. Mr. Perry, quite a while ago, we talked about fixing Bay Shore Avenue down in North Cape May, and it was supposed to be under study and everything else. Can you
Correct.
tell me what the latest is on?
The latest I got from Freeholder Maury is that, and since then, by the way, the county engineer had retired, but there's someone else now in his place. But the schedule was that Bay Shore Road from Old Mill Drive to Fishing Creek Road was going to be paved this fall, with the exceptions of where there is a pipe that goes under Bay Shore Road that feeds to the stream feeds through. That needs to get replaced. They were going to pave up to that point, and then after that point, all the way down to Fishing Creek Road. That's supposed to be done in the fall. I haven't heard anything different back from the county that it was going to be delayed. The portion from Ferry Road to Bay Shore Road, they're still working. The problem, from what I've been told by Freeholder Maury, again, is that there's easements that go through that the county owns, and what it's going to encompass is some of those properties that are businesses on Bay Shore Road could possibly lose up to 8 feet of their front, so to speak, in order to make this road improvement. And of course, they're going through the legal process in order to make their improvements happen. So they're right now, they're in, the legal section of that with the owners of those businesses on Bay Shore Road. Once that gets squared away, from what I understand, they were going to go out to bid, but that's where they're at right now.
Okay, and I was just lost it in my head. Oh, what about the sidewalks too? They were going to put new sidewalks in?
Correct.
Is that still
Going to
on?
be all, from what I was told, that was going to be redesigned. There's going to be sidewalks in there, and one of my concerns was especially at Town Bank in Bay Shore, where the bank is, because people walk up the sidewalk and they get
Yeah.
to the bank and they have to walk in the street in the intersection, which is dangerous. And I was told that, yes, that's part of it. That sidewalk will wrap around and meet on Town Bank Road.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I don't see any, so we close the public portion and ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.